Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. It took a couple of trips to the plate, but House Republicans voted to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas this week. It's only the second time in U.S. history a cabinet secretary was impeached. President Biden called it a, quote, blatant act of unconstitutional partisanship. The Democrat-led Senate might not even give it a trial. One thing appears certain: Ali Mayorkas will not be convicted. 3 Republicans voted not to impeach, not to indict, if you will. One of them joins us now, California Congressman Tom McClintock. Congressman, one thing I distinctly remember about our time together in the House: you were a stickler for what you believed to be constitutional. You were, and I say this with all due respect, a constitutional thorn in both sides if you believed the document was being pushed aside. So I'm assuming that something in this, yeah, I mean, that's a compliment, actually. So I'm assuming what led you to believe, something led you to believe malfeasance in office alone is not sufficient grounds for impeachment.
I was going to say the Constitution is what protects our liberty, and the only way we'll lose it is if we abandon it, and that's the job of each generation. With respect to the grounds for impeachment, we know what are not grounds for impeachment: maladministration, malfeasance, corruption, neglect of duties, because the American founders at the Constitutional Convention rejected all of those terms. In Madison's words, they would make the president a servant of the Senate. That would completely destroy the separation of powers, which is at the heart of the constitutional mechanisms that keep us free. And they settled instead on high crimes and misdemeanors. Those are actual crimes using the office. They didn't want policy and political disputes to be turned into impeachments.
Yeah, I think that's what we have elections for, or the policy and political disputes. I'm going to ask you a question I'd like to ask some of your Republican colleagues. I assume Ali Mayorkas is doing exactly what Joe Biden wants him to do, or else Biden would get rid of him. So why the push to get rid of the puppet and not the puppet master?
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Again, all executive authority shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. All of it, not some of it. Any power that a cabinet secretary exercises comes directly from the president through the Constitution. He can't serve 2 masters. If the Congress wants him to do one thing and the president wants him to do another, his duty is always to the president, as long as he's acting within his constitutional authority.
All right, Republicans wanted, at least my memory tells me, Republicans wanted to impeach a guy named John Koskinen, the former IRS commissioner, and AG Eric Holder, and then the Democrats wanted to impeach Bill Barr, and they did impeach Donald Trump twice. There are constant calls to impeach Supreme Court justices who don't vote the way people think they should vote. Has impeachment become just another political tool?
I'm afraid it's becoming that, and that's what the founders feared. They didn't want that to happen, and yet we're now watching it unfold before our eyes, and that's very disturbing, because if this is allowed to continue, it's going to become a fixture in our national life whenever the White House is held by one party and the Congress by another.
Before I let you go, the latest on the border security versus military aid for Israel and Ukraine and Taiwan. I mean, I don't know why Republicans have to negotiate over border security. That's something that a nation ought to have regardless, but they seem to all be mixed together. How is it going to sort out?
Well, I'm a big believer in single subject bills. That provides a clarity you can't get any other way. The impact on the discussions has been to produce a stalemate. I think we ought to take these issues up separately. But with respect to border security, it's not a question of passing new laws. It's a question of enforcing our existing laws. Donald Trump did that. The border was secured. Joe Biden, on Inauguration Day, reversed all of those policies and began the largest illegal mass migration in our country's history. So we need to enforce the existing laws, and that can't be done by Congress. Congress writes laws. We cannot enforce them. Ultimately, This was set in motion by the American people when they elected this administration, and it can only be fixed by the American people, replacing it with an administration that's actually devoted to securing our borders and upholding the rule of law and protecting the American people.
As you say, take care the laws are faithfully executed. That is the job of the president. Tom McClintock, once again, citing the Constitution as he did when we served together. That is his guiding document. And thank you so much for joining us on a Sunday night, Congressman.
Thank you for having me.